All right, everybody, we are here on a Thursday heading into a holiday weekend. I'm Bill Phillips, and obviously we have some special guests. Sean Livingston, Bronco Busick, they're getting ready to get it on, as they say. That is an old boxing term from a referee, and I can't think of his name escapes me right now. It'll come to me, but he used to ref all the championship fights, and we've got championship fighters right here. MMA action coming up. It's called the Brawl in the Berg 28. That is coming out April 26th, 7 o'clock, Saturday night in Belle Vernon, PA. Live MMA action at the CFS Bank Event Center. We're going to talk about all of that. But you know what we have to do when we get on? We have to talk about Valley Converting. They're absolutely awesome. Valley Converting in the Gem City, T-Town, Toronto, Ohio. Mike Biasi and the crew getting it done. So now the tax season is basically over, hopefully, for everybody. So if you have those receipts and everything else, you're just like, what am I going to do with these things? Well, you can recycle them. If you have a book, maybe you're done reading, the whole family's read it 15 times. Give it a new life. Send it up to Valley Converting. They'll take care of your paper products. You bring enough paper, they'll give you some paper back.
Every piece of paper has a story. What if that story didn't end when you were done with it?
At Valley Converting, we turn your old paper products into recycled paperboard, continuing the story.
Locally owned and operated in Toronto, Ohio, bringing your paper to Valley Converting isn't just about recycling.
It's about supporting a cleaner, greener future for all of us.
We are here 5 days a week to help you make some green by going green.
And remember,
recycle for your future.
So, all right, everybody, a Thursday, and so just about a week and a half out for you guys to be getting ready to fight in this MMA event, of course, presented by 247 Fighting Championship, and tickets, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how you can get tickets, where you can get them. Doors open at 7, but it's going to be a big night, and you are both from Steubenville Big Red products. You know, if you know the names, you can hear the names. You can say, we know these guys. Big Red Nation's going. You know, we know these guys. Bronco Busick, two-time state champion, defensive player of the year in Ohio, and just a guy that dominated when he was in school. Sean, 150 wins, OVAC champ in 2016, wrestling. So, I mean, it's just I got a few stats written down. I haven't even gone through the whole thing. But these guys are getting ready. You've got your debut coming up.
Yes, sir.
So I would imagine the nerves are a little bit different than they would be for Bronco.
He's a lot more cooler than I am, but I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited for it. Finally able to showcase some of my skills, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Bronco, you've been through this meat grinder a few times now, but I would imagine never gets so. Imagine the maybe not nervous, but anxious to get into the ring and get going.
Absolutely. When you do something like that, you almost got to be crazy not to get nervous. You just kind of learn to deal with it the proper way. And I feel like my man Sean here, he's already doing a good job at just preparing, and just going through the process. And it helps that he wrestled his whole life too, because this sport is very similar to wrestling.
Well, let's talk about, let me ask you both that. People watch UFC, they get the big cards and you see it on ESPN and all over the place, and there's other leagues all around. And I would imagine that's everybody's goal is to, that's the biggest stage you could be on. But as you're coming up, you just said Sean has wrestled his whole life. And if you take that wrestling background, how much easier is it to be able to turn things on in terms of, okay, I've got my wrestling background, but I need to be able to strike a little bit more. How does that balance work when you're trying to learn what you need to do to get ready for these fights so you're not weak in one area?
Yeah, I think definitely having a wrestling base, growing up with wrestling is my opinion, the most important. I feel like it's easier for a person to learn, how to strike than to wrestle late in the game. Okay. So that's definitely most important. And then, you got to have the right coaches and training partners. Me and Sean, we go up to Stoughton, Pittsburgh, okay. And, very thankful for the coaches and training they have because, it's like a team up there, so it helps you prepare and what you need to do,
Absolutely.
And Sean, you get a background or, you're training in jiu-jitsu as well?
Yes.
What's that been like and how's that helped you?
In this game, I feel like, obviously you have to elevate your game. So with the jiu-jitsu, I just feel like, I'm able to get into certain positions and, I know where my weakness and my strong suits are. So, yeah.
All right. So now what I want to do, because, we can talk, but people love to see the knockout. People love to see highlights. So we've got producer extraordinaire Jordan. You both met her today. She's extraordinary, isn't she? Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So Jordan, how about Bronco, I tell you what, just knocks this guy out.
Yeah.
So let's show that to everybody. That's the first one. He's further away. It's not the montage. He's okay. So we're gonna take a look. This is the knockout. How long ago was this fight, or was this pretty recent?
Yeah, pretty recent. I'd say 3 or 4 months.
Here we go. Shot to the stomach. I'll describe it because you don't have a monitor. Shot to the stomach. Oh, and then the overhand right. And the referee didn't even bother to count. He didn't even go one. He just went, we're done.
Yeah. So MMA today, man, I believe it's so important to be well-rounded. I would say when the sport first started, you would see a wrestler dominate. Everyone would have their one thing, whether they're wrestler, whether they're karate, whether they're just boxing. But in today's world, the sport has grown so much, so it helps to be well-rounded. In this case, I had trouble holding the guy down, so we got to a point where we're on our feet. So you got to be able to take care of yourself on that.
Okay, so we had that to look at. We're going to look at some more highlights in a little bit. Just want to ask you about the card coming up. 11 fights on this card on the 26th, and it's we mentioned it before. It's at the CFS Event Center. But 11 fights. The card's got a championship fight in the featherweight division. Ethan Goss is the champ. He's going to go against Brady Fung, and they're going to be fighting for a title. But then you look at the list. You guys aren't the only big red guys. You got 2 more guys. You got Nico Petridis. He's going to be fighting at 170, and Ethan Pappas also is going to be fighting as well. So I know how tight the Big Red Nation is and the community Big Red. What's this like to have, Big Red represented? And I know some people are going to go, oh, Big Red, we're going to hear about Big Red again. Well, Big Red, you guys stick together, train together, and achieve together. And that's the one thing I tell people. The expectations are always set at a championship level. What's that been like to go through that process?
Well, me and Pappas, we work out frequently together. So, we're always in my garage grinding with each other, hitting road work with each other. So, and it's his amateur debut as well. So I think me and him both we're ready. I'm excited.
Well, let me ask you this, Bronco. What advice would you have for Ethan and Sean? Because this is their debut, and it's going to probably be a packed house, and it's going to be a loud house. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've actually been talking to them about this. It helps that we've been there and went through it. Is to they're training so hard, and they feel great in training. Listen, before you go out there, understand you're going to be nervous. It's okay. It's normal. Understand how you feel during training. Go out there, relax the best you can, and believe this is no different than training. It's no different. You have a crowd, you have cameras, so that puts more on it. But when it comes down to it, you're doing exactly what you're doing in training. So these guys are working their butts off. So that helps with their confidence when they go in there.
I saw a Facebook reel or a YouTube reel, I'm not sure which. Gino Auriemma just led UConn to a 12th national championship in women's basketball. And some people might be thinking, Bill, where are you going with this? How is this going to relate? The one thing that he talked about in this reel was the fact that if you practice, and he didn't use championship level, if you practice at the highest level you can, and then you go through the whole season, you're doing that day in, and then you get to the Final Four. He goes, yeah, there's going to be a little drop off because there's other stuff going around. There's things that are going to distract you, but it drops off and it's at a championship level. So if you guys are putting that work in, the road work, how many miles, when you say road work for people that, for somebody like me, I'm like, hey, 3 miles, we're good. That's the long,
about 3 to 4 miles.
3 to 4 miles a day.
And then we got this hill next street over from my house. and it's a tough hill, and we hit like 8 to 10 sprints daily.
Now, will you guys get into the weight training as well, or is it more wrestling and fighting, more ring action?
We do like more bag work, shadow boxing. I got like an Aerodyne bike in my garage that we hit. But I'm not too big on the weightlifting as much.
Keeps you flexible, I'd imagine, for the wrestling part of it, not getting too.
And in this sport, it's more about being able to use your tools in the second and third round. So pumping iron's good, but what Sean's saying, hill sprints, and then so he's doing his strength, his heavy bag work, his running, and that's on top of. Shout out to West Karate and Weirton. We go there for jiu-jitsu. Listen, when we go at it there, we go at it. Listen, at 34 years old, I wake up cracking and popping, rolling with Sean, rolling with Ethan Pappas. I mean, it's a full-time job. Preparing for one of these, if you want to prepare like a professional.
I'm going to give a shout out, late great Clarence West.
Yes,
did a sports challenge with him back in the day where he had me walk on glass. I was like, "What? We're doing what?"
That's
just laid it down.
My dad, he actually took karate from him. He got his brown belt through.
Clarence West.
So whenever he passed, my dad, he was really it hit home for him.
Absolutely good dude. And speaking of good dudes, one of the dudes of the Ohio Valley. If you don't recall, Nick Big Bully Busick. I always call him Nick the Bully Busick. But your dad, I'll tell you what, he did a sports challenge with me. He was just gonna have me ref. He was just gonna have me a ref at the Millsop Center, a pro card. I walk in, Hacksaw Jim Duggan's there, Moondog Splat, the whole thing. So he comes over, does a commercial here, and he goes, "We've changed the deal, Bill." He's got the cigar. He shoves the cigar in my mouth, throws his wrestling boots over my shoulder. And he goes, "You're my tag team partner." And next thing I know, I'm going, "How did I get this?" And then I remember we went against Psycho Mike and the Tarantula. And we ended up winning.
You know what I'm
saying?
Yeah, he sure did love you. Yeah, absolutely.
We had a blast. He was just a good dude. Let me ask you this: coming up in a family with your dad that was a professional wrestler, and a guy that was a police officer as well, so he knew about physical combat and wrestling and the fight game. How has that helped you on your way through everything that you've been through in terms of sports and life? And because he had a perspective on the world.
I'm very lucky. My dad is he pretty much paved the way for me for my foundation with training and limit right and prepping for this career. I'm very, very fortunate.
How has getting back to Big Red just for a second, football, wrestling, sports in general, the expectations that are set by the generations that go before, because you go to a Big Red game and there's that core like 10, 12 little kids running around before the game, throwing the football around the basketball court, or they're mimicking the wrestlers as they get ready. How does that, and obviously Reno talk about the eyes of the past are on you. You can't, those expectations are there. What's that like? What's that advantage like that those expectations are set?
I think it just instills a certain toughness in you. Just teaching you how to work hard, a certain grit. I just think, not to, talk down on the other schools, but just Steubenville in general, it breeds you just a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you definitely get
and definitely, as I grow up, I got kids, and as I grow up in life, I really revert back to the certain things, that's been, instilled in me, from Big Red and from, Steamboat City schools.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about this card coming up on April 26th. Again, we mentioned it. It's called, if you're looking for it online, you want to put in, just search it, Brawl in the Berg 28. It's live MMA at CFS Bank Event Center. That's in Bell Vernon. It's Saturday, April 26th at 7. That's when it starts. And if you're marking it down there, you can find it online. 111 Gatlin Road in Bell Vernon, and the zip code there, if you're looking for the Google on your maps or whatever, it's 15012. It's presented, as we mentioned before, by 247 Fighting Championships. And tickets, I mean, that's a pretty good deal. I mean, you get 11 fights, and if you want to go in, you want to just stand or sit in the bleachers, $50. You want to be right. You want to get blood on you. You want to get sweat on you. You want to, maybe someone comes through the cage. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, hopefully that don't happen.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. But if you want to be in the first 2 rows, it's $150.
Yeah.
I mean, you are right there.
This is no average local premier promotion. I mean, 24/7 does such a good job. Listen, I fought in Las Vegas. I fought in the Mohegan Sun. I've thankfully been in some big shows, and 24/7 is right there with all these shows. I really believe it's the show all the best in the area need to do or are going to do before they get to the big stage. Say if the UFC is the NFL, this is the big show before that.
Okay,
so it gives young fighters like Sean, like Ethan Pappas, like Nico Petridis, a chance to have how we talked about eyes on you, film on you. To prepare for those moments.
And I imagine Dana White and his crew are looking for young talent everywhere.
Yeah, and it really helps to have a promotion like 24/7, so these people get noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we mentioned before, right now 11 fights on the card. And here's the thing you mentioned about being on the grind and training and everything. 5-minute rounds. Just stand in your living room. And right now, before the end of the 9-minute film, because we never go 9 minutes, it's already way over 9 minutes. We're now 18 minutes and 40 seconds in. Just stand in your living room, run up and down, and do some push-ups for the next 5 minutes, and see how tired you are. And then imagine someone trying to beat you down, trying to wrestle you, laying on top of you, trying to take your leg and put it, across your shoulder and everything, and you've got to somehow manage to survive that for 3 rounds
in a cage. While everyone's out there watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to learn how to relax.
It's so you get 11 of those. 11 of those. So it's just a lot of great fights. You get a championship fight now. We mentioned the Big Red Fighters. You guys, Bronco and Sean. Sean, do you know anything about Maxwell Snyder? I think he's making his debut as well.
No, I don't know too much about him, honestly.
Okay.
I just know what he looks like. That's about it.
All right, you're both at 170 for the fight, and then
sir.
Ethan Pappas is going to be at 145 against Jaden Wise. Pardon me. That's at 145. Nico Petridis is going to take on Brett Schoenfeld. That's a pro fight at 170, and then Bronco, you're at 215 with Dale Reed.
Yeah,
what do we know about him?
Yeah, we're meeting at 215. He's coming down from heavyweight.
Okay,
big, strong guy, well-rounded. From what I see, I study a lot. It seems like he's coming very prepared. So as am I.
Okay. Yeah. So expecting just a knockdown, drag out.
Yeah. Hopefully not, because I'm getting older. Hopefully we're going to get the job done fast.
Real quick.
Yes.
Quick.
But
that's a wrestling mindset. I want to pin him in 5 seconds. And I'm out of here. I can go get something to eat.
Yep. Get the job done and go home and eat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as I mentioned before, and if you can't make it to the fights, I've got something else to do. I'm out of town. I'm on vacation. You can check it out at 247fighting.com. So you can see the fights live there. And I would imagine, in any sport, really, if you're worried about the cameras, if you're worried about you can't do your job. So now, Sean, I would imagine you've gone through it in some of your events that you've gone through already. But Bronco, since you've been in the pro game in MMA, how do you? And just this past week, talked about greatness. We talked about earlier in the week after Rory McIlroy won the career Grand Slam in golf.
Yeah,
and he talked about going to the final round. And they said, "What are you going to need to do?" And Bryson DeChambeau was in the final group. So I'm ready to get the crowd going. The whole thing.
Yeah.
Rory kept saying, "I just want to be in my little cocoon. I want to be in my bubble. I'm going to be in my own world. I'm going to get my stuff done, and I'm going to go on." And he had the better day. Not saying one approach is better than the other,
right?
But when you have done it and you've gone into the ring, are you looking to get the crowd pumped up, or is it, I'm in my own headspace, I need to do this, this, and this, and then when the fight starts, that'll take care of itself? But do you get into your own bubble, or is it more about hype for you? Where do you go mentally to get ready?
Yeah, no, I do feel like everyone is different there. For my approach, I look at it as a job. I go in and get it done, and I believe if you perform and get the job done properly, the rest will take care of itself.
Okay. All right. Now, have you fought in this facility? Have you fought in this facility before?
No,
This is new? Okay.
Nope.
So, but most of the times, here's the cage. It's the same setup for the most
same
part.
setup, yeah, and you know, going back to how good 24/7 does, man, every venue they have is very legit. I mean, it's always, I mean, it's with the top of them. I mean, you always have a great crowd, the music, the environment. It's just, you know, it's top of the line.
All right, and we're going to give a shout out to the gym up in Pittsburgh where you guys train. Stout, Sean, tell me about Stout up in Pittsburgh. What's that like? What that setup is like, and how they get you guys prepared to go through that?
I mean, they have a phenomenal coaching staff. You know, anytime I'm in there, I'm always picking up little, you know, little gems that they, you know, would tell me, and I'll take it back home, convert it, you know, with Pappas, you know. But you know, the guys that are there, you know, hell of a good, you know, good fighters. You know, everybody is kind of like a family, like, you know, what Bronco said earlier. You know, and truthfully, I couldn't ask for, you know, anything better, you know, out of them.
All right. Again, it is a big fight night, and it is going to be in Bell Vernon, Pennsylvania. Brawl in the Berg 28, live MMA action at the CFS Bank Event Center, Saturday, April 26th, put on by 247 Fighting Championships. And we saw the knockout from Bronco, but let's see Bronco take someone apart. And this was a fight where we were talking a little bit. This was a fighter that was undefeated and had an opportunity to get a shot at maybe the UFC, and you took him apart.
Yeah, I looked at it as an opportunity for me.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, and Sean's gonna see this too. You know, we know what we're capable of. You know, like you said, growing up, Steubenville, great. You know, I don't feel like everyone else knows our ability. So if we prepare properly, there's pretty much no challenge we could take on. You know?
Well, when Jordan's getting that together to put on, we'll take a look at that in a second. Again, we want to mention that tickets, if you want to get tickets, $50 gets you in the gate, standing room only or bleacher seat, however you want to look at it. And then if you want to be right next to the cage, if you want to be right up front, $150. And in today's world, $150 for 11 fights, and you're on the first two rows,
and it's worth.
Come
it. You're
on.
gonna have a great night.
And four Steubenville kids on the card.
Yeah,
I mean, that's phenomenal.
It sounds like a road trip to me. It sounds like something ready to go and do. So, all right, here we go, Jordan. Let's here we go now. Okay, so this is you walking into the ring, Bronco, and it looks like composed, like you've got your warm up, like you got a suit on, ready to go to work.
Yeah, we're ready to go. So.
Showing off the artwork as well with the tats.
Yeah,
the tattoos are there.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's one thing Bronco does really well, man. You know, I've been to a couple of his fights. You know, of course, supporting him. You know, he stays very composed. You know, when he's in there, you know, before the fight, he just is, you know, very calm. You know, cool and collected. And I think, you know, that's
good right hand.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Sean. That pays off when it comes time. You know, this sport especially is so much psychology and being able to stay calm and use your tools, because when you're nervous, especially in a fight, I mean, it doesn't get more organic than that. You got to stay calm.
Okay,
you have to. And I know, you know, it's hard, but it's possible. You know,
not to, you know, compare the two, but why not? Because the media, we get to compare everything we want, especially when it comes to sports. You always hear the game gets easier when it slows down, and it slows down. Derek Jeter, I watched a lot of, and I'm into the mental side of everything as well. But Derek Jeter was talking about the other day, because I would play training camp, you know, spring training games, as if they were World Series games. And he goes, so that way, when I got into a World Series game, I was ready. Nothing sped up. Everything was at the same pace. And, you know, quarterbacks talk about that. I remember I covered Ben Roethlisberger for 15 years up in Pittsburgh, and he would talk about slowing the game down. And he said, once I learned the offense, it became easier because it was slowed down. He wasn't just reacting to what was going on. Is that what happens in your brain, where you're okay, I'm prepared, so I'm not just reacting, I'm thinking about, I can make this move now. You're still reacting, but you're thinking about it, and it's more a calmer, I guess, an even keel.
Yeah, it's a very real thing. Being able to like enter the flow state, it's a very real thing. If you're nervous and you just go out there and you shoot your shot right away, man, it's just your body's not. You're almost going to freak out in a way, you know. So being a veteran, I always Ray Lewis, even when he was older, he would still be able to make the play because the game slowed down for him. His vision. I remember my first time getting in on a varsity football game, and I see these guys, they're moving. I'm lost. I'm all over the place. But come senior year, it was like I was like Neo on the Matrix. Like I see it so slow. You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
it does.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you just gotta, you gotta go through the repetitions of live action too. So I believe, and I hope Sean takes us. Rack up the fights. Don't worry about taking a loss. It's okay.
You learn.
You learn. You really do. And the more reps, the more the game's going to slow down. I've went out there before. I've got nervous, and I've taken losses, but it's only helped me to where I am today. And sometimes you have to go through those things.
All right. You mentioned your family before, and we've talked about your family, your dad, and you have family, obviously, and the whole thing. What's that been like? You're new to the game in terms of this is going to be your first fight, but going through the training, going through everything you've gone through, everything that you've gone through, what's it like with the family to get that support? And hey, I got to get out there and train. Where's dad? Well, he's out putting in some work. I would imagine it's almost impossible if you have a family, if they're not backing you the whole way to do a sport like this, because it's so demanding.
Yeah, it is. Anytime like I call my little girls or I'm out of the house, my oldest girl, she'll be like, you working out? And so she knows, somewhat that, daddy tries to put work in. Off of that, my dad, he still hits mitts with me, hopefully today we're going to hit some mitts, to stay sharp. But yeah.
I feel like Sean's always, it might be his first fight, but I feel like he's always trained. He's always kind of, whether he's got a fight coming up or not, he's always put in work outside of his normal job. So that's going to help him a lot, going through the process. And it's really cool as a parent, training and your kids. The only times I've hit the heavy bag and my little one's running around, it's a cool environment. I grew up in a gym with my dad pumping iron, man. It's good for kids. It really is.
Absolutely.
There's nothing better.
They see the work. They see the work. They know that it takes the time. They see the work. Well, again, I can't thank you guys for stopping by today. Enough. And wait, we got to put some comments up here. I get so enthralled in talking to you guys. I wasn't paying attention with the comments. Zach says, wow. He says, wow, he's ready to go. And then Ralph Petrella, my guys. My guys. That's what he's saying. My guys. Now
Ralph for mayor.
From what I understand, he's rolled with you guys sometimes.
He goes over the West.
Because I understand he's into jiu-jitsu.
Ralph still got it.
Yeah,
he still got it.
I'll tell you what, he was a ball player.
Oh yeah,
back in the day. Tough. Yeah, absolutely. And Hunter checking in just puts fire.
My man, Hunter.
So a lot of people looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we wrap things up, Jordan, just because I know you love knockouts like I love knockouts. Jordan's all about knockouts and fights. So maybe we could take a look at that knockout one more time for Bronco. Just he's like he's plugging in a Christmas tree. Yeah. And then the Christmas tree just collapses. Yeah. Right in front of everybody. And like I said, the ref didn't even go one. He just went, we're done. We're out.
And you didn't even hit him because you knew he was out when he hit before he even hit the mat.
Yeah, you just turned and walked away. Like, okay, no, I don't gotta hit this guy again.
Yeah, clean shot. Yeah. Those are the best sometimes.
Yeah, I would think. Probably the best for the person getting knocked out because they're not going to take 15, 20 more punches. Yep. But here we go again, and it's just this right hand. Bang. Oh.
Yeah, no, hopefully you guys you get your tickets or online tickets and watch them. And hopefully us four Stinville guys get a win similar to that.
Okay, now I said we're going to wrap up. We're going to wrap up. Jordan's going to come over and smack me in the back of the head. But we usually do National Day and we usually do some birthdays and stuff and some, so you guys got to get the full experience of the Phill-Up.
We're in.
So today, April 17th, in the history of the United States, one of the big names in the United States, early big names, Paul Revere, the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, warning everybody the British are coming. Well, in 1775, he warned Samuel Adams. Yes, that Sam Adams that's on the cover of a beer now. That guy, that's who it's named after, Samuel Adams, and John Hancock, that the British troops were marching from Boston to Lexington, Kentucky. So that happened in 1775. That was the only real big thing that happened on this date, apparently. But you know what happened big today? These guys, Sean Livingston, Bronco Busick, here on the 9-Minute Phill-Up. That's going to go down in American history, no doubt about it. National Crawfish Day. Talk about that a little bit before.
Great
National
day.
Crawfish Day.
Great
One
day.
of the Southern iconic days to really. Now you take the newspaper, cover the table out on the picnic. You can do a boil. You can do a bake. Have you guys ever did crawfish? Anybody?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's Jordan.
Great day.
Yeah, you like crawfish?
Yeah.
Jordan's a big fan.
There you go. So crawfish, they bake or boil, and then you can call them ditch bugs, crayfish, craydads, crawdads. It's peak season right now, so that's why it's National Crawfish Day. National High Five Day. Do you guys know how the high five came about?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
National
Yeah.
High Five Day. And National High Five Day, first time that they believe it happened, Dusty Baker, of course, he was the manager of the Houston Astros a few seasons ago, won the World Series. He hits a home run for the LA Dodgers, comes across home plate, high fives Glenn Burke, and he was the final player of the 4 Dodgers that year that all hit over 30 home runs. So that was the first team in the history of Major League Baseball to have 30 home runs by 4 different guys. So he came to home plate, put his hand up, and he wasn't on TV, though.
That's
So
been
there's
ever
no-
since. Huh?
There's no video evidence.
Wow.
So then the other claim to it is the University of Louisville. And if you remember back in the late 70s, early 80s, it Dr. Duncanstein, Darrell Griffith, and that whole crew. Well, they had low fives, and then the next season I think it was 79, they started doing high fives. So they kind of claim it too. But I'm going to go with Dusty Baker.
I'm
because,
with you.
And
I'm
then that's it for haiku poetry. If you guys are into haiku poetry, today's your day.
I haven't checked in on it, but I will.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It gets you thinking, gets you doing all that stuff. So again, want to mention it one more time. Can't thank Bronco Busick, Sean Livingston enough.
Thank you.
They are on the fight card. Brawl in the Berg 28, live MMA at CFS Bank Event Center, Saturday, April 26th at 7. It's in Belle Vernon, PA. Not a long drive. It won't take too long to get there. Tickets on sale. $50, $150. If you want to be up on the cage, $150. You want to just be in there, standing room only. There's going to be there's no bad seats in the whole place. Doors open at 5:30. National anthem 6:55, and then at 7:00. Mills Lane is the referee. Let's get it on. He would do and he would do the introductions for the boxers.
Yeah.
Let's get it on. And he did a lot with Mike Tyson.
You said you were going to find. You're on it.
Yeah. And, I may have been hit in the head a few times too.
Yeah.
I just can't remember. But there you go. So 7:00, doors open. 4 big red fighters, 4 local fighters from the Ohio Valley. And Bronco, I liked what you said. I wrote it down. Looking to represent the toughness of the people from Steubenville, Ohio.
Yeah,
and
the Ohio Valley. Yeah,
From
absolutely.
the whole Ohio Valley.
It really helps to have the locals support us. It makes the process a lot funner. So,
and, I mean, if you're from Belmont County, Ohio County, Wetzel County, Harrison County, any county in the Ohio Valley, Columbiana County, make the trip because it's going to be a big night of fighting. And again, you're going to get to see these guys. Sean's making his debut, and Bronco, you're going after Dale Reed at 2:15. And we've got Ethan Pappas and Nico Petrides, also local fighters in that big card. So if you have any questions, and we're going to have Nico on next week. So we're going to have him on Tuesday to talk about the fights as well. So we're looking forward to that. But again, can't thank you guys enough for being here today. Really appreciate it. Jordan, extraordinary as always. And we can't thank Valley Converting enough because they make it possible for us to have the 9-minute Phill-Up, which never goes 9 minutes. We try to, but it never seems to. 36 minutes.
Yeah, it ain't that close.
Right. Yeah, a little bit. So anyways, thank you, everybody. Oh, we got one more comment.
Coach
So
Murray.
there you go. Yeah. I'm going to show my support, my dudes.
Coach
there you
Bird.
go. Yeah. Cornell Burden. There you go.
Great wrestling coach.
Absolutely. So everybody's it's gonna be an exciting event. It's gonna and I can't wish you guys just nothing but the best. And looking forward to you know what? Let's do it again.
Yep.
After the fight, you guys win, and then you're getting ready for your next one. We'll have you guys back on again.
Perfect.
All right, sounds good. All right, everybody, you remember the 2 rules. 2 rules. What I usually do with my left hand. 2 rules. Have fun and always try your best. Because if you're having fun and trying your best, who's going to get mad at you? And if they do, don't worry about it. Just remember the 2 rules. Have fun and try your best. Thank you, gentlemen. Jordan, thank you as well. We will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. for the next 9-minute Phill-Up. It never goes 9 minutes.